The Subaru Crosstrek 2019. The second generation came out in 2018 based on the Forester platform. Subaru is trying to integrate in all of their platforms today, so they can actually use this world platform in all vehicles that they have in their lineup. That kind of suit the SUV kind of style they have right now. Slick body lines on the Subaru Crosstrek. It has these plastic bumpers that kind of emphasize ruggedness. Well, I just saw Homer straight here. These have halogen lights, and this is the premium trim. It really only has a few small features up from the base model. The halogen lights are okay in the dark. The LED headlights are only on the higher trims, as this is only the touring trim. For the model lineup for the Subaru Crosstrek, they included convenience, touring, sport, and limited trims, and you have an optional eyesight package. You can only get a 6-speed manual up to the sport trim. You can't even get the 2.5-liter engine that just came out in 2021. You can only get that on the limited trim and up. You can't even buy a manual all-wheel drive and get the peppier engine. So you get halogen lights. The brake lights are updated for 2018. They're pretty slick, matching all Subaru models, 2018 and up. So after the Forester and the Impreza gets updated in the WRX. It also has a little hatchback spoiler. It's kind of cute, but you know, kind of sporty. Surprisingly, the logo, I just kind of glanced at it, almost looks like an Aston Martin logo if you look at it closely. This Subaru Crosstrek came with 152 horsepower and 145 pounds of torque. It can be sometimes a little peppy if you know how to shift properly and fast. And if you skip gears, you can kind of have a smoother driving experience. But overall, I think it's a little gutless, and I just wished that they had included a 2.5-liter engine, and that would have made for a way better experience. But you can only get that on the higher trims. And right now, we're talking about the manual Subaru Crosstrek, which is a dying breed these days. It's one of the last cars to have a manual all-wheel drive. I'd wish they'd actually taken a page from Honda's book and included a manual transmission in all trims, which would be nice because then you could have the comfort, style, and everything else in between. So the handling in this car is pretty decent. It kind of has a more comfort SUV, kind of pavement princess style steering in it. And you can kind of feel the road a little bit, and it's a little bit of body wobble, right? Where if you turn the wheel, it's pretty accurate, right? It's pretty fast. There's a little bit of topsy-turvy on it because it is a lifted vehicle and such. You can almost sometimes feel at highway speeds, or if you're going slower, you can actually feel the electricity almost not hindering you, but kind of helping you steer. It's a little weird. It actually doesn't have any way of tightening up on highway speeds. So you almost have like the same steering wheel response, even at higher speeds, which sometimes can be dangerous. It might have a little off-center vagueness. It's overall pretty good. It's not like a rack and pin steering wheel. It's just an electric steering, which can sometimes take away all the actual fun out of things, and you can't really feel the road as much. It's very much like an easier car to drive, aside from the manual. What can you do, really? This car also has all-wheel drive, which is kind of the reason why you buy Subarus. They come standard in all Subaru models in North America. So when you get a Subaru model, even the base model with like cloth seats and nothing to it, sometimes they don't even include air conditioning, you still get all-wheel drive, which is the most important part of Subaru's brand. And this all-wheel drive is really good. It's symmetrical all-wheel drive. It actually displays in the third screen on the top middle where the traction can be sent to all 4 wheels. And you can also see what level of degree your car is in. So if you're going up a slope, you can kind of see how steep it's going. And if wheels are losing traction, it will let you know in the gauge cluster and start to send power to those wheels so you can have full traction control, where you can adjust all the settings by clicking info and change any of the settings by holding info, and then use the little select buttons and go up and down from here. So you can change the time, display, maintenance, and initialize it. So you can actually put in when you need your oil change, oil filter, tires, and maintenance schedule. And you can go into display, change if you want the screen off or not, favorite, bypass screen, or have a beep. And then also the time and date. You can add a birthday, anniversary. It also shows the time, heating, if it's on auto or not, and the out temperature. The fuel economy is pretty good in this car. Obviously with all-wheel drive, it has to work a little harder, and sometimes it saves gas by disconnecting the rear or the front, or depending on what you need, right? With a 62-liter tank and 16.6 gallons, you can really get anywhere in this car. You can drive from Kelowna to Vancouver in 3.5 to 4 hours with about almost 400 kilometers. You'll have about half a tank left. Pretty decent. When you want to get the power out of the manual, you might be spending a little more gas, or $1.26 liters. It might be about 60 to 70 bucks to fill the tank right now in Canada. Yeah, you'll get like okay fuel economy with the 2-liter. It doesn't have much horsepower, so you're not going to be spending too much, and it's like a smaller engine, so it'll be pretty fuel efficient on the highway. They do have the CVT models and the higher trims where they might get better fuel economy than the regular automatics in other cars, but the manual can almost match a CVT. Let's talk about the Subaru Crosstrek's usability. I'm 5'10", and I have about a foot of extra space for my knees and my head, with the driver's seat moved to my preferred driving position, and an armrest with 2 bottle holders, no pass-through though, and a decently easy step-out height. You might have to still watch out for your head. Both seats fold down 60-40. There's a little lip in the middle, but any mattress could lay down pretty flat if you go camping. 1 storage pocket on the passenger side, nothing on the driver's. Standard roof rails, you can have up to 3 bikes on the roof. Yakima bike, roof rack not included. 8.7 inches of ground clearance. You could really get anywhere in this vehicle. Space Center storage capacity up to 55.3 cubic feet of space with the seats folded down. With 17-inch aluminum alloy wheels. I wasn't told any actual components going out in this car. It's been really reliable. The only thing you need to do in this car is fill the windshield washer fluid and the occasional oil change. In the early 2000s, they had this 2.5 liter engine that was in Foresters of the time, and the head gasket blew. You'd have to replace this, and it would cost quite a bit, like $3,000 or so on older Forester models. That's not ideal, so Subaru actually updates engines quite frequently during their model years. So even this one is 2019, it came out in 2018. They already have a new engine, a 2.5 liter in the 2021 model. This car might be refreshed in 2022 or 2023, because about every 5 years or so average, cars do get refreshed. You might expect a new model pretty soon. Subaru likes to put new engines in their Subaru models just to kind of spice it up, and sometimes they have reliability problems, as the 2018 model had a PCV valve that could break and cause oil consumption or a stall. Recall for the 2018 Crosstreks and some hybrids in 2019, but this 2019 Crosstrek has not had any recalls of late. You're really expecting like a really capable machine and a really reliable machine. I wouldn't really worry about the engine. The engine is pretty reliable. I think it can go for a very long time, and with 22,000 kilometers on this car, it hasn't seen much, but I have driven it to Vancouver. It's never stranded me or anything, and it's really reliable, and it's made in Japan, so reliable to boot. Some people buy Volkswagens for like 2,000 bucks and sell for 3,000 with problems in it, but you never know what you're gonna get when you buy a Volkswagen sometimes. Right, Jack? Yes. A lot of the time though, like I've been noticing, it doesn't show the gear fast enough. Sometimes really annoying when you actually want to know what gear you're in when you're driving manual and you're trying to worry about other things sometimes, and you look at the cluster to see what gear you're in. Sometimes it just does not tell you. And now this is somewhat due to letting go of the clutch. It might start telling you what actual gear you're in, but generally you're not going to be getting a reliable number quick enough, and sometimes it takes like 4 seconds or so to actually give you the readout. So once I shift, I let go, it blanks and then goes right to the gear. It's just not quick enough. I think it should tell you the gear right away, and you don't have to take out the clutch and wait a couple seconds or so. So once you drive, oh, Model Y. With these all separate screens, you can kind of see what's going on with the car. They included a 6.5-inch main screen another screen right above, and a little screen in the gauge cluster. It also tells you if it's cold out, which is pretty obvious. It's snowing right now. You'll also kind of see like the digital fuel gauge, which is, you know, like only partly accurate, partly not. It only has so many bars it can show at one time. You can see the speedometer, how many kilometers you have, what gear you're in on the bottom left, and the fuel gauge on the bottom. You also have your RPM gauge. You have your speedometer on the right. So on this one, pull and hold set, you can switch for a menu. You can go to screen settings, go to languages, units, goodbye screens, and everything. It's kind of annoying trying to change every single screen separately when it could have all been in the main screen. And it's quite a small screen, so I would have liked it to have a bigger speedometer readout. And you also have the fuel economy on the top. With Apple CarPlay standard, you have your full iPhone Apple CarPlay integrated in the whole system. You also have Android Auto. Apple CarPlay in the Subaru Crosstrek. Phone maps, messages, now playing, original Subaru settings, podcasts, calendar settings, Google Maps, Spotify, and YouTube Music. You can really download anything and it will pop up here if it has a CarPlay app. Let's check out the phone. So from here, you can dial in any number you want. You can go to contacts, you can ask Siri to make a call, or you can go to recents and favorites. You can go to messages. You can see all of your top conversations here. Click any of the messages and reply.
What do you want to say?
Hey, how's it going?
Your message to Grandma says, hey, how's it going? Ready to send it?
Yep.
Okay, it's sent.
A message just popped up there.
Grandma said good.
We have do not disturb while driving. You can have an appearance always dark or light. We have wallpapers. We have suggestions and dashboard, and we can show album art. Go to podcasts, and you can listen to any of your favorite podcasts here. We can go into Spotify, and we can go and play the Joe Rogan Experience, and we can start playing right away. You can use your steering wheel controls as well. And when you go back to the main screen here, you can start listening to Elon Musk, and he will show up on the bottom right. Along with Google Maps, you'll have some of the Google Map controls on the top right. We can go into YouTube Music, and we can play some of our favorite artists. And it'll display the cover art on the right. Select any of the recent apps on the left. So we can check out Iceland. Now let's go into Google Maps, and that will be replaced with the top selection there. So you can go and add a destination. You can search with your voice, or you can pan around. Let's go into the settings. We can avoid highways, tolls, and ferries. You can also go into map colors, have automatic day and night. I really like it dark, so you can focus on driving. You can go to satellite map. You can turn on traffic, which is a game changer. You can have map north, up, or not. Change the volume of the guidance. Let's change it to 14. You can also go to calendar. It's a pretty capable machine. Let's check out the original Subaru's system. So from here, you've got phone settings, radio, apps, media, and Apple CarPlay. You get your driver profiles, brightness, some other options. You can change the EQ, sound, and aux volume gain, and microphone volume. You can actually change the phone volume. So if your phone is really loud, you can actually put that down. Ringtone volume, speech, and beep sounds. You can add any Bluetooth device really. Go home, go to media. You can have USBs connected, Bluetooth, or aux. You can have any music on that flash drive and play it through the sound system. You can also tune and scroll with the right knob. Also tap and volume on your left to see what's playing on the top right. For radio, you have FM, AM, and you can have up to 18 saved tracks within them. You can always go to sound and adjust the bass, mid, trebs, where exactly you want the sound to come from. Let's check out some of the vehicle settings, because you have to have the vehicle on. So you can adjust the clock. You can have the interior light, the keyless entry system, which it has a key, so I don't know why it says that. You can have the defogger, welcome lighting. You can also have one-touch lane changer. You also have an auto light. You can also change the language. You can have the rear camera timeout. A backup camera, it has lines, so you know exactly where you're turning, and you can see the bumper right there. You can also change the Bluetooth name. As for the climate controls, there's no dual climate. That's maybe on the higher trims. Auto, on and off. Change it from here. You can set it to hot, cold. You also have fan control, AC, max AC with blank buttons, which is annoying sometimes. You can also change the mode here, and that will display on the top. Rear defogger, and also side mirror defogger, and also the hazard readout on the top screen. Temperature, it will display on the top there. If you change the mode, that will come up and select which mode you'd like, along with fan speed. And you can't lock out per vent. They're all always open. On the passenger side, they do have one dial. On the driver's side, it does have one dial as well. Heated seat for both the driver and the passenger. High and low, no medium heat. I think Volkswagen has like 5 or 6 heats sometimes, which can be kind of insane. As for steering wheel controls, you've got cruise control, and you can set it right here. Cancel it, you can set it, display in the gauge cluster. And you can change the volume, skip track, select the source, info, which changes the top middle screen, hang up or call people with voice. These buttons for changing settings in both screens. You can auto window for both passenger and driver, unlock, and you can change the mirrors, and you can lock these out. Red is the interior lighting, and you cannot change that at all. Turn off traction control, and you can change your lights within the car. Reset the trip. You got glove box, a lockable component to it, and these are all manual seats. Change it from the bottom, and fuel cap is right here with a bottle holder. On the stocks here, you've got no auto wipers, but this is for the back, what intermittent wiping you have. You've got auto headlights. You can switch fog lights on or off. 6-speed manual transmission. And you got the manual e-brake, and you've got door lights, turn it off or on, and regular lights. And you've got visors. Visor test. Oh, just kidding. It's got a little nub. Only works partially. They both have mirrors as well, with no light. As for my thoughts on this vehicle, I would recommend this car to anyone who wants an all-wheel drive, standard, manual, whatever you want to call it. There's only so many in the world left, and this one's reliable, very affordable. If you're okay with a 2-liter engine, really this thing can really outlast you. With a 2.5-liter engine might be coming in the future for the manual cars, maybe buying this one, and it has Apple CarPlay, so you're future-proof for a very long time. And the ruggedness and everything, I think this thing will last you. You know, the leather steering wheel is very nice. If you really need a car, I would suggest getting a Subaru Crosstrek. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next video. We're going to McDonald's? Yeah. You want the combo or just the burger?
Just a burger.
Hello?
Hello, what can I get for you today?
Can I get a Szechuan burger? A Szechuan burger.
Oh, just the Szechuan chicken burger?
Yeah, just on credit.
Hi there. We
Hi.
just need food.
Oh, the Szechuan burger.
Szechuan chicken?
Yeah.
Pretty cold? Sure.
Am I like too early?
Not sure.
Sweet, thanks much.
They're just busy as hell. So good, man. So good. Want to take a bite?
I'm okay.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm good.
You sure?
And they would like a little bit of comfort and style.
Sorry.